Today, we are diving into the world of Brivis Evaporative Coolers.
We're on a quest for the knowledge that'll help you make a smart choice,
Yeah,
whether you're buying or installing one of these things, or even if you're just curious about how they work.
exactly. Okay, so let's just jump right in. 75% more efficient than your typical refrigerated air conditioning.
Big statement.
Now, that's a big statement. Is that legit, or is there some fine print we need to unpack here?
Right. Bold claims, they require a closer look. But in this case, this efficiency claim is actually rooted in some pretty neat science. Unlike those traditional AC units that use refrigerants to cool the air, evaporative coolers, they rely on a more natural process, evaporation.
So it's kind of like that refreshing breeze you feel when you step out of a pool on a hot day.
Exactly. Imagine that feeling, but bottled up and pumped through your entire house.
Okay, now you're talking.
These coolers, they pull in that hot, dry air from outside, and then they pass it over these water-soaked pads.
Okay.
And as the water evaporates, it cools the air down, which is then, circulated throughout your home. And the best part is this process uses way less energy than traditional refrigeration, especially in drier climates.
Now that you mention it, I have heard that evaporative cooling works wonders in dry heat.
It does. For example, in a place like Phoenix, Arizona, where the air is notoriously dry, running an evaporative cooler can cost you up to 75% less to run than a traditional AC, especially during those summer months.
Wow, 75% less. No wonder they're shouting it from the rooftops. Okay, so it's efficient, it's eco-friendly, but what about air quality? I know a lot of our listeners, myself included, are concerned about things like allergens and dust. How effective is that really? Is it just a fancy fan, or is there some serious filtration going on in these things?
That's an excellent question, and one that a lot of people have. While the evaporative cooling process itself does provide some natural filtration, it's important to, manage expectations.
So like a really high-tech swamp cooler. I remember my grandparents had one back in the day. Definitely cooled things down.
Right.
But it also made the air feel a bit, swampy. Not exactly what you're looking for in your living room.
That's a great point, and it highlights an important distinction. Those old school swamp coolers were essentially, first generation evaporative coolers. They cooled the air, but they also added a ton of humidity to the air. And as you said, not ideal. Modern evaporative coolers, though, like the Brivis units we're looking at today, have come a long way since then. They use sophisticated airflow management and moisture control to prevent that, overly humid, swampy feeling.
That's good to know. So they've tackled that humidity issue. But what about actual filtration? Can these things really remove pollen and dust, or is that just, marketing hype?
They can definitely help, but it's not quite as simple as just plugging it in and breathing easy. It's like this. As the air is drawn through those wet pads, larger particles like dust and pollen do get trapped, providing a basic level of filtration. It's similar to how a natural waterfall can purify air, just on a smaller scale.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's not like a HEPA filter, right?
You're exactly right. While those wet pads can trap some larger particles, they're not designed to catch those microscopic allergens and pollutants that a HEPA filter can. So if someone has serious allergy concerns or lives in an area with poor air quality, you might need to consider supplementing their evaporative cooler with an additional air purifier.
Gotcha. It's all about finding the right tool for the job, right?
Precisely. Now, speaking of finding the right tool, let's talk about the different Brivis models. I saw you flipping through the brochure earlier, and I could practically see your eyes glazing over at the variety.
Don't even get me started. It's like they have a cooler for every letter of the alphabet. Advance, AD, Bolero, Promina, Contour. How is anyone supposed to choose?
I hear you. It can definitely feel overwhelming. But don't worry, we're about to decode all this model madness. Think of it this way. Each of those names represents a different family of coolers, each tailored to specific needs and preferences.
Okay, I'm listening. Break it down for me.
All right, let's start with the Advanced series. These are like the reliable workhorses of the Brivis lineup. Known for their robust airflow and durability, they're a great option for folks who prioritize solid performance and value. Then you've got the AD series, and this is where things get particularly interesting for our Australian listeners.
Do tell.
The AD models, specifically the AD-BAL, are built to withstand bushfires. They meet the Australian standard bushfire attack level 12.5, which means they have things like metal construction and ember protection to increase their chances of surviving those intense situations.
Wow, bushfire-resistant coolers. Now that's something you don't see every day.
You're telling me. It's a testament to how seriously Brivis takes the unique needs of their Australian customers. And they've applied that same bushfire-resistant design to their Bolero BAL model as well.
So peace of mind for those living in bushfire-prone areas. That's a big deal. What about those other models, the Promina and Contour? They look pretty sleek.
They do, don't they? Those are their more design-forward options. Perfect for those who want their cooling system to blend seamlessly with their home's aesthetics. They tend to have a lower profile and come with those extra bells and whistles, like automatic water management systems and pre-wet cycles for enhanced cooling.
Fancy. So, they've got all the bases covered, from basic functionality to high-tech features. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you know which model is right for you?
You're hitting on a crucial point, and luckily Brivis has a tool for that.
Okay, spill the beans. What's the secret weapon they're hiding in the back?
It's not exactly a secret weapon, but it's definitely a game changer. Remember that Brivis size software we saw?
Oh, right. The one that helps you choose the right cooler size for your needs. Is it just a marketing gimmick or does it actually work?
It's the real deal. Sizing is absolutely crucial when it comes to evaporative coolers. You get a unit that's too small and it's about as effective as a hamster running on a wheel. It'll work hard, but it won't cool your house. But then if you go too big on the other hand, then you're just wasting energy and money. Not to mention you risk making your home feel damp and crammy.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, the Goldilocks zone of evaporative cooling.
Precisely. And that's where this Brivis software comes in. It takes all the guesswork out of choosing the right cooler. It considers things like, your local climate, the size and layout of your home, even the direction your house faces, to recommend the optimal unit size and features for you.
That's seriously impressive. And speaking of peace of mind, I noticed Brivis offers a performance guarantee. If you use their Brivis software and have their unit professionally installed, that speaks volumes about their confidence in their products and services.
Absolutely. It shows they stand behind their products and are committed to making sure their customers are happy. For you as a buyer, that guarantee gives you peace of mind, knowing that you're making a sound investment.
What questions should we as informed consumers be asking?
You hit the nail on the head. It's all about being an informed consumer. One of the biggest things they emphasize is how effective these coolers are in dry heat. And don't get me wrong, they're not wrong. But evaporative cooling, it isn't as effective in humid environments.
Makes sense. If the air is already full of moisture, there's not much room for more evaporation to happen. It's like trying to add a drop of water to an already full glass. It's not going to make much of a difference.
Exactly. So if you live in a humid area, you really want to weigh your options carefully and consider if an evaporative cooler is the best solution. And here's another thing to think about: ongoing maintenance.
Ah, yes. The not-so-fun part of owning any appliance. Pad cleaning. What else are we getting ourselves into here?
Well, those pads are just the tip of the iceberg. Like any appliance that has moving parts, evaporative coolers need regular upkeep to keep them running at their best. Think about it. You've got water constantly flowing over those pads, which over time can lead to mineral buildup, algae growth, and even mold if you're not careful.
Eek. Mold is definitely not on my wish list for a cool and comfortable home.
And nobody wants that. So regular cleaning and maintenance are really important. You'll need to factor in the cost of, cleaning or replacing those pads, cleaning the unit itself, and winterizing it if you live in a colder climate.
And let's not forget about the cost of all that water. Using water to cool your home sounds great until you get your next water bill.
That's a really great point. Water usage is definitely something to keep in mind, especially in drought-prone areas. Although in Brivis's defense, they do highlight some of their water-saving features, like that AquaSave system.
Right. That system is designed to cut down on water waste by adjusting water usage based on the cooling needs and the environment.
Exactly. Those are some really valuable options that can save you money and headaches down the line, but it's important to keep them in mind when making your decision. Remember, knowledge is power, and by understanding all the angles, the good and the not so obvious, you can make the most informed decision for your needs.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been a really interesting deep dive into the world of evaporative coolers. We've gone from feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the information to feeling empowered with the knowledge to ask the right questions and make an informed choice.
I agree. And for those who want to dive even deeper, I would recommend looking into the history of evaporative cooling. Did you know this technology has been around for centuries in different forms? Ancient civilizations used everything from wet mats hung in doorways to these elaborate wind catchers and water channels to create a cooling effect. It's fascinating to see how far this technology has come and to think about its potential for the future in our world that's becoming more and more concerned about sustainability.
That's a fantastic note to end on. Understanding the past can really help us understand the future. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you all next time when we'll uncover even more hidden gems of knowledge together.
Until then, happy cooling.